Good morning and welcome to Urban Agoge, day 4 of week 2. Format seems to have settled down. I think I'm going to definitely go for, an outdoors part and a gym part. And that way, if you want to just get into the habit of going outside and you want to do that for a few weeks, that's cool, at your own pace. You know what you're capable of, and you know what constitutes a challenge. Wow, it's proper raining today, hence the Gore-Tex. And yeah, so on the downside, it's raining, and on the upside, there ain't going to be anybody in the woods, so I won't feel like an idiot. This could say either I'm super proactive, or it could say I don't have enough sense to get out of the rain. You be the judge. I feel your judgment now. So yeah, so we've got a couple of things to go through today. Got to pay attention to this. If you can see this, these are all railway sleepers, just dug into the mud. So I don't know if you can see. There you go. So the drops are quite significant, and I really don't feel like running down this. Although this is kind of my running route. I'm walking my running route. This is why I started Urban Agoge now, so that hopefully by the time I'm up to doing the whole 1.5 mile run that the Army Fitness course lays out, I've got an interesting sort of chunk of running to do. Yeah, so it is properly throwing it down. So yeah, the two things we've got today is I got sent a link to some video from my buddy in Australia, Harlequin, who also mentioned that a friend of his, Tom, hi Tom, or Thomas, is also looking into it. So I know that a couple of people are looking into it in America, which is cool. So especially misanthropic gods, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but a few people at work have subscribed, which is nice. So we've currently, at this time of speaking, got 8 subscribers. Hello, wherever you are. Well, we've got 7 subscribers because my other video channel, Ranger's Tube, is one of them, just so I can be sure that notifications are coming through. So yeah. So, look, I don't know whether that means that they're going to redevelop this. Right. So yeah, we'll press on. I'm going to take a wander. So I've been looking into various self-help books. My job allows me a certain amount of freedom as far as being able to listen to things goes, and it means I can too many and it means I can basically listen to audiobooks while I work, which is great. So my research time and my reading time are folded into my work time, which gives me a lot more space and a lot more time to look into things. So there is this book, and it was published in 1989 by Stephen Covey, and it was very interesting, but again, like a lot of the self-help book industry, and I'm going to mention a few books, and I'll put a few Amazon links down below if you're really interested. A lot of them tend to pontificate quite a bit because the person has got to fill up a book. If somebody just said these are the 7 habits, this is what I mean by these 7 habits, then you probably find that you wouldn't be able to sell the book. So yeah, so I guess if you're doing research and you're compiling research and you're coming up with some actual, useful information, it just would be nice if people were prepared to disseminate it. Now, fortunately on YouTube, there are people that are prepared to disseminate some of this information. So yes, I'm going to go through the various points. Okay, so the first point from the Stephen Covey book is be proactive. Act, rather than react. So do something positive that either alleviates your problem or sets out a new thing or creates, rather than be someone that responds to creating. It's better to be a director, for instance, than a critic, or a writer than a critic, or an artist than a critic. The second one is begin with the end in mind. So when you start out with something, make sure that you know where you plan to end up. Even if you don't end up there, have a destination. Don't just go on random journeys, because although that's fun sometimes, it's what I'm doing right now. But the end in mind is getting some footage. So yeah, do that. After that, so be proactive, begin with the end in mind. First things first, make sure that you're setting a decent foundation. You're not trying to, build a house out of levitating bricks. Do you have all the access to the resources you need to start with? Do you know the information that you need to start with? So, that's a handy thing. I've got The fourth point is seek the win-win. If you're going to set out to do something and part of it is a maybe, but the part of it you're fairly sure of is a result, sort of like this, then go for it. Seek that sort of the ultimate win. So like this, I'm getting out for a walk, win. I'm shooting video, so I'm uploading to YouTube, win. And hopefully other people are watching it, win. I mean, the only maybe is whether people watch it or not. What I'm doing is I'm learning things for myself. Nice around here. And I'm getting some exercise, and maybe I'm getting it across to other people. The next one is seek first to understand and then to be understood. So when you've got to interact with other people and you're trying to get across like a mad new concept to them, like Urbanagogi, people look at you very weird. I think it's a fun name, but I have to explain it, so it's probably not the best. I probably should have called it something like Hero Gym, which is why, if you look at the thumbnails, it's A Hero's Journey, because I thought it was very Joseph Campbell, a guy who wrote The Hero with 1,000 Faces, that was the jump-off point for certainly the first Star Wars movie, for its rewrite of the script, and has been for a lot of other stories. It's kind of a text in script writing now. So, A Hero's Journey. So I seek to understand. I needed to research the fitness stuff. I needed to have a look at some of the things that might work as far as to get me fit, and I had to look at some of the philosophy that might help us as a group, and we are a group, might help us get there, and then spread that using all the mean and nasty marketing technology I can lay my hands on. I'm not seeking to sell you anything. But what I am doing is, because basically I'm really enjoying this, and I'm really enjoying doing this every day, and I would happily, and I happily will do this every day. I would just like more time. And unfortunately, because we live in a a world that currently has a system where you have to work in order to earn money, in order to survive, I have to hand over quite a large chunk of my time, and I'm running up against deadlines, not with just the filming. I mean, if you think that I've probably made 4 hours of video in the last 2 weeks, if you add in the stuff that I've had to cut out or reshoot, it's probably more like 5 or 6. If you then add in the editing and rendering time, that's probably, so that's 6 hours. It takes about twice as long to render stuff as it does for the stuff that you're watching at best, plus another hour or so per video to edit. So you're probably up to about 20 hours there. That's just a rough estimate. And then add in the time spent uploading it and the time spent doing research. So in the last 2 weeks, it's not even 2 weeks, I've probably put in 40 hours. So like an entire work week, more or less. You know, it's like about 1 1/4 work weeks with the hours that I currently get. So yeah, I am adding a digital tip jar down below. If you are benefiting from this and you want to fling a few quid my way, it's just like a one-off payment into my PayPal account. And yeah, I'm going to shill for it. But this is the job I'd like to do. I'd like to get better at this. I'd like to get better equipment. I'd like to have a gimbal, for instance, so I can walk along. I'd like to have a better selfie stick for a start. And I've already invested quite a lot of time and effort learning, how to speak in front of a camera and how to edit videos and stuff, because I've been doing it for about 10 years. But it'd be nice. I could seriously enjoy turning this into a job and easing off on the number of days a week I have to work. Well, look, these orchids are everywhere. So that's like the win-win, That little sidetrack was kind of, I'm enjoying it, but I'd like to do this for a job, or more of a job. I'd like, it'd be nice if, fair enough, I still have to work half a week, or 3 days, or 4 days washing dishes in a restaurant, but then for 3 other days I can really concentrate on improving the videos and making them all watchable and more entertaining, and also making them look nicer. Because it's a sad fact of YouTube, if your videos look all sorts of polished, then people will watch. If they're shiny, people will watch it. They won't necessarily do anything about it. Ironically, it's the sort of people that will do something about it that are going to watch a slight amount of shaky cam. They're going to watch a low grade video camera. I mean, I'd love to upgrade to a GoPro so that we've got nicer footage, and maybe some sort of system where I don't have to hold it but you can still see my face as I scramble through the woods. That'd be great, but it just ain't going to happen, not at the moment. So win-win. Number 6. How does that look? I'm trying to get the interesting architectural features. I'm hoping that lightning doesn't start, because this would be a very silly place to stand. Okay, so number 6. Synergize. I hate that word. This is marketing and business, people, for you. All about motivation and motivating people to sell. Let's do this. Interesting camera angle. I bring you to the nicest places. Okay, so number 6 is synergize. And that essentially means if you've got the option to work with people rather than against them, and for both of those groups of people to benefit from it, then you'll get more cohesion, and you'll get more traction, and you're more likely to achieve your goals. And finally, number 7, which we are definitely doing, This is what you get when you go on a nature run. Well, that's some kind of bird's egg. That's like a goose egg or a duck egg. I think that's a duck egg. Goose eggs are slightly larger. So something's pilfered that and then dropped it. But we are in the sort of area where you get lots of ducks. I digress. Yeah. So number 7, and it's always the hardest thing, you know. I mean, all these habits. And if you had a little checklist and seeing whether you're achieving that, and that will reinforce your project or whatever it is you're doing, then great. But number 7 is sharpen the saw. And what Covey means by that is make sure that the tool, it's worth taking out the time to make sure that the tools that you're using are as effective as possible. So your body, your mind, you know, read books, exercise, you know, fuel yourself right, keep yourself in good shape, because it doesn't matter, you know, how much you think that you've got everything else dialed down. If you fall apart, then the whole project fails. So yeah, so I'm going to run a black screen about here with those, you know, 7 habits of highly effective people. We've already talked about habits. We've already talked about brain chemistry. And then, as a special treat, we're going to run VT on the Harlequin video from just south of Sydney, and he's off on his woodland ramble, but in a place called Yakandanda. That's the most Australian name ever. So yeah, so coming up on the screen, your 7 habits of highly effective people, followed by Harlequin, and then it will hit credits. So hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed the ramble actually. I went in a very different direction, and I'm more than hopeful that I'm heading back. This is a nice walk. This might be a nice run next week, or part of a run. So next week you're going to really wish that you put money into a gimbal. But you're going to wish I've been able to, because the Army Fitness Program begins, and we're going to begin. Well, I'm going to begin with the jogging, and hopefully at some point in the internet world of the future you will too. So yeah, take care. Thanks for watching.
I thought you'd enjoy the view somewhat different. This is where I always come when I talk to you. This is when I go for a walk, I'm often wandering around here. Oftentimes we'll go up and go different ways depending on which way it is. There's a creek off to my right, which is the Yakandanda Creek. It goes into Commissioner's Creek in the summertime, not when it's currently, it's freezing cold. It hit about 5 degrees last night, centigrade. Probably likely to get down to about 2 or 3 tonight. Yeah, in the summertime when it's 45, great place to go for a swim. Up on the left is all old cutaways from the gold mining runs up there, and if we keep going down here we'll cross over, and eventually if we went further down we'd end up at the mining race, which is a cutout made from granite, cut out of the granite, where they used to sluice all the gold out of the hills around here and wash it out. Anyways, I thought you'd enjoy that. There's a brief wander around the arse end of northeast Victoria. Got about 15 minutes till my shift starts tonight. I got called in for cover someone being sick, which is pretty good. Yeah, I thought I'd take a brief opportune moment without anyone to do my 20 minutes, half an hour, quick as I can wander around. Did my push-ups this morning, did my sit-ups this morning, in line with what you'd done yesterday. And yeah, going on from there. Have a good one, mate, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.